Hello and thanks for joining us in Chicago tonight. I'm Joanna Hernandez. Brandis Freeman has the evening off. Here's what we're looking at. Ahead of Small Business Saturday, we talk with a group of business owners about the holiday shopping season. We explore how local Native Americans are preserving their history.
We just want to showcase our heritage.
And a new pizza spot serving up a fusion of ingredients. And now to some of today's top stories. Local Palestinian groups are reacting today to the ceasefire between Israel and the militant group Hezbollah. The deal announced yesterday calls for a 2-month halt in fighting and requires Hezbollah to end its armed presence in most of southern Lebanon while Israel troops will withdraw from Lebanese territory. The deal does not address the war in Gaza, but pro-Palestinian activists in Chicago are calling for more. In a statement, the U.S. Palestinian Community Network says while they're relieved about the ceasefire, they're demanding the U.S. and all aid to Israel and charge Israel's prime minister with war crimes. President Joe Biden says his administration will renew efforts for a ceasefire in Gaza in the coming days. And Amtrak is gearing up for a busy few days of holiday travel. Amtrak officials say Thanksgiving is its busiest travel period of the year. And the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is traditionally its second busiest travel day of the year. And to accommodate the expected surge of customers, Amtrak says it's adding extra cars to Northeast regional and Midwest trains and increasing trip frequencies between a number of popular destinations along the Northeast corridor. Officials are encouraging you to arrive 45 minutes before your departure. And if you're traveling by car this Thanksgiving, good news, conditions for a potential winter storm didn't quite materialize. The National Weather Service is forecasting some lake effect rain or snow tonight in northeast Illinois and shifting to northwest Indiana overnight. Accumulations, if any, are expected to be minimal. But the big story will be the temperatures, which will drop Friday into the 20s with overnight lows in the teens. The cold pattern is expected to stick around for the entire holiday weekend. It is going to be a cold one. Up next, area business owners are looking for a bump in foot traffic now that the holidays are here. That's right after this.
Chicago Tonight, Black Voices, is made possible in part by the support of these donors.
As you prepare your shopping list this holiday season, don't forget about the city's vibrant local business scene. In addition to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, this week also marks Small Business Saturday, and local entrepreneurs are encouraging shoppers to visit throughout the season. And here to share more about their businesses are Mario Sinceros, owner of Sinceros Leather Company, Gabriel Neely, co-owner of Colores Mexicanos, Marshuana Miller, owner of Bomb Beauty Boutique, and Quentin McNair, owner of Struggle Beard Bakery. Thank you guys for being here. I love seeing the table full of different items. I know that opening a business comes with a story, so all of you have to have your journey and story. Quentin, I want to start with you. You launched your business after serving 24 years in the military. How did baking play a role in making that transition? And where did that name come from? Struggle Beard Bakery.
So I'm gonna give you the story real quick. Wanted to grow my beard when I first got out the military. Here we are 5 years later, not much of a beard. I was struggling with depression and PTSD and discovered baking as a way to deal with that. So what started off as a hobby and a way to deal with PTSD and depression during quarantine, which made the problem like 10 times worse, it turned into a thriving business and a way for me to give back to the community.
So really it was a healing journey for you.
It was 100% a healing journey.
And then you realized you could bake.
Not when I first started. So that was one of the struggles. The actual baking was a struggle when I first started, but with a little bit of practice and like the genuine love for it, I got a lot better.
And you didn't give up.
No, not at all.
That's the main message. Gabriel, your store is located right on Michigan Avenue, a very busy spot in Chicago. Colores Mexicanos, the goods are handmade from Mexico. You brought some here. Tell us about the artisans and how you work with them.
Sure. Our store currently represents about 150 families from 15 different states of Mexico, as well as a lot of local Latino artists, covering neighborhoods like Pilsen, Little Village, Marquette Park. And yeah, we're one of the few small local businesses downtown, And we're really excited for a holiday season and showing people a little piece of Chicago as they walk the Magnificent Mile.
And how do those partnerships come about in finding people to bring to your store?
Sure, it's been a process of years. You know, we started out from the humblest of origins, working street festivals around the city and making contacts across Mexico through our own family networks, through travel. And now we're in a position where, given that the store has grown a little bit, people seek us out, which is a great honor to represent some of the greatest craftspeople from across Mexico.
Also, I can imagine that being downtown comes with its challenges.
Yeah, the store is it's full in good ways and in challenging ways most of the time, but it's a real blessing to be sort of in the eyes of the world downtown, and we really try to represent Chicago as best we can.
And Mario, I want to go to you. How did you get started working with leather and handcrafting items?
Well, starting with it, I didn't really know at the beginning what to do. I attempted a business before, and that fell through, and I was like, man, I got to figure something out here. But I always had a passion to create stuff with my hand, and another way, I found this, or I stumbled upon it when I was working for my day job, right? I do construction, and I was looking for some tools that I needed, and or leather stuff for like tape measure holders and whatnot. And actually, it was the idea of a laborer that said, "Hey, Mario, I'm tired of," and he started grabbing about his holder for his tape measure, and it broke, and then that clicked and it hit me. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take this. I asked him for permission for I need to just take it from him, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, see what you can do. And then
But
so
let
I
me
said,
try it
okay.
out.
Yeah.
But you knew you wanted to start a business.
So then that would trigger that. Ultimately, so I went home, made a better one, a better version of it, took it to him, and then it's just like wildfire. It's like, hey, can you make me more? Then that turned into, can you make belts? Can you make wallets? Can you make? So I was like, man, this is, I'm like, slow down
I
a
can
little
do
bit.
this.
Yeah.
I'm like, and here we are.
Yeah, and then fast forward, and here we are. So this is my passion. I also want to give back to the community that I'm in. I know that there's a lot of kids out there. I know I struggled with trying to find an outlet for all the energy that I have, and then I figured, why not just give back to the kids that are seeking that kind of craftsmanship, and teach them how to do everything by hand, because everything I do is by hand. So I draw out the patterns by hand, I cut everything out by hand, I stitch by hand.
So there's so much passion and love behind the business. That's really great. Mars, I want to go with you. I heard that your business actually started, your passion for fashion started when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about Bomb Beauty Boutique and what kind of styles, what can we find there?
Sure, yes. So growing up, I had really bad eczema, and I just was trying to find a different way to empower myself and give myself some confidence. And so I dove into everything beauty, fashion, and entertainment. And I first started out, obsessing with skincare routines, and then I went to hair, and then I went to clothes, and it's just expanded from there.
So you're really embodying the whole entrepreneur spirit.
Absolutely. I actually got it from my mom. I saw my mom working very hard growing up. She had a full-time job, and then she had multiple businesses on the side. And when you're a kid, I didn't realize it at the time, but as I got older, I really understood her more, and then I adopted that entrepreneurial spirit.
I love that. Tell me a little bit, as we know, it's Small Business Saturday. What are some of the deals that people can expect? I know you brought some of your jewelry.
Yes. So everything you see here is $10 or less. At my store, which is located at 837 West 115th Street, 115th and Halsted, we're doing a big Small Business Saturday sale. I'm doing a throw it in a bag sale. So I have a bag, and for $45, you can fill it up with whatever can fit inside the bag. Is yours to have.
And that's not a bad deal.
No, it's a great, you should see how creative people get with stuff in that bag.
Stuffing the bag.
Yes, it's a sight to see. It really is.
And what about you, Quentin? Your shop is located in Hyde Park, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you brought all these goods too.
Yes, I actually brought it to share with everybody else. Because one thing I enjoy about baking is the actual sharing of it. People enjoy things that I create. We keep merch from everything from the hoodie that I'm wearing. It's a partnership with another Black-owned business, a merging of our two brands, till we have coffee cups. We have, of course, the treats. So it's a type of place you can come in. It's more a coffee shop than bakery. You can come and get a treat, or if you want to take one home or travel and put inside a gift, we can individually wrap any of our goods for you to put in your own gift baskets. Yeah. We're also having events every Wednesday night. Tonight we're having cookies and karaoke. Where you can come in and get your treats, sing off key.
You have Fire Doodle. You have a whole bunch. Which one's your favorite?
So my favorite is the one that started the business. It is the Charles Anthony, and it's still in the bag down there. It's the most complex cookie to make, but it's also, it tells the story of the bakery. So I love to share that one with people in particular.
That's awesome. What about you, Gabriel? I love all these different, you have brought candles, right?
Yeah, this is, let's see, I brought a Christmas ornament. We have a huge selection of handmade Christmas ornaments. This one is called a hikara, which is a gourd that's been carved by hand with essentially like a little chisel. So yeah, the entire thing is drawn out. This would have been the
really
natural
beautiful.
skin of the gourd that was painted black, and then it was basically carved to draw, to cut out the drawings of the birds and the animals. A lot of the art in our store is inspired by the natural landscapes that people see every day.
And that takes time. People need to know that this takes time.
Absolutely, yeah. Each of these pieces takes several days to craft. So yeah, a lot of handmade ceramics. This is another sort of idea of ours, working with artesanos from Mexico. This is a handmade little cazuelita, which is a little pot that we've worked with a local partner to pour a soy candle into.
And who doesn't love candles?
Okay,
Yeah, and then you can reuse it afterwards. Yeah,
Why do you think it's important for people to shop small business?
Because we're your community. You know, we're your neighbors, and the same money that you can spend with us as money we'll turn around and put back into our communities to support our schools, to support our local grocery stores. It's, I don't know, I think we all really respond well to that feeling of walking into a place and knowing the people who work there, knowing how invested they are in it. And you can definitely feel the passion around this table, and I know that goes for a lot of small businesses around the city.
That's really great. What about you? What are some deals you would say for Saturday?
So for Saturday, we're doing classes. Right now, we're doing a promotional for $10, and you can. We're creating a wallet, so this is a perfect example of the wallet. I didn't bring any of the other stuff, but
so they can learn how to make a wallet.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they can see how
Everybody
long it
wants a
takes.
good leather wallet.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
My brother was just asking me to buy him one for Christmas. So
Especially when you're
Well, there you
traveling.
go.
especially when you travel. Yes.
Yeah.
So how long is the class?
We're gonna do from 12 to 2, but they're welcome to stay. We're gonna have a little finger food, and we're gonna have ornament decorating too. So for the kids that, I know Fridays, I think they got something going on Friday, but
Is it Black Friday?
I,
Did you say?
I think
Which
so.
Black
Well,
Friday is very different now than it
Yeah.
used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
Supposed to be lined up for TVs.
Yes. I think we're all in the same era.
It used to be dangerous.
Yes, it used to be dangerous. Now the sales start like a month ahead.
Oh yeah, to avoid all that, right?
Yeah, and you talked about giving back. Mars, would you say that it's also important for you to give back?
Absolutely. I do a lot of free things at my store and a lot of community things because, like he said, it's a community aspect. I had an election night watch party. I gave away $100 in gift cards just to get the community engaged in voting and coming around. I also host what I call a boutique boot camp. So I teach people how to start their own boutiques. In my very first class, I taught 14 young ladies that were impacted by incarceration how to start their own retail business. So whether they had a parent or whether they themselves were incarcerated, I taught them how to have a new path, a fresh start that doesn't require much education, just a couple $100 and a lot of passion.
That everyone can do it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time for coming down here and sharing your talent.
Thank you.
I can't wait to try your treats.
Yes.
I love cookies. I'm pregnant, so I'm eyeing those. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Up next, local efforts to preserve Native American heritage. Chicago is home to one of the largest urban Native American populations in the United States. More than 65,000 live in the greater metropolitan area, representing about 175 different tribes. And while November marks Native American Heritage Month, many locals say they don't confine celebrating their traditions, culture, and achievements just to 1 month. Here with more are Jasmine Gurneau, board president of the Chicago American Indian Community Collaborative, And on Zoom, Matthew Wiesa, Tribal Council Chairman of the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi of Michigan and Indiana. Thank you both for joining us. Jasmine, I want to start with you. Tell me about the significance of the fall season for Native Americans.
Of course. Well, I can only speak for myself and my family's experience, but fall is a season to celebrate harvest, to give thanks for the growing season, and to prepare for the long, cold winter months. But yeah, definitely a season of gratitude, but as is all year round, but especially in the fall.
Something to celebrate all year round, your culture and traditions.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Matthew, I want to go to you. In what ways does the Pokagon Band preserve its culture?
Well, we've spent 30 years preserving our culture and rebuilding our government upon our reaffirmation in 1994. November is an interesting month in that, you know, as you've said, it's, you know, Native American month. But for us, we're Native American 365 days a year. So there's, while we go out and do a lot of teaching, we get a lot of requests for schools and different groups to, you know, learn more about the Native community. It's something that we live every day, so it's really not a lot of difference. Just something we have to work at.
I just want to correct myself, Pokagon, right? Okay, just want to make sure that I'm saying it right. And Matthew, you govern over 6,300 tribal citizens, and your community is constantly growing. I do want to bring a stat. The U.S. Census Bureau reported that national poverty rate for the natives was 21% in 2023 compared to 17% for Black people, 16% for Hispanics, and 9% for Asians. Why do you think natives have the highest rate?
You know, that's a good question, because when you look at our community, under the last census we took, our unemployment rate was above 50%. I think a lot of that is a lot of our elders still suffer from the trauma of boarding schools, and our attempts to improve the quality of life of our people is an ongoing project for us. You know, education is very important to us. We have a very robust education scholarship program. Healthcare is very important. We have a very nice clinic. And, you know, we create as many jobs as we can, and we're building homes to bring more of our people home. You know, we have 6,300 citizens, but yet we have citizens in every state in the country and even some outside the country, and many of them want to come home, and we want to build a place where they can come home and be comfortable and improve that quality of life.
And be able to thrive. Jasmine, in an effort to increase financial support, the CAICC invites foundations to witness indigenous experiences in Chicagoland area. What does that experience look like, and what do you want people to take away from that?
Yeah, I would say, connected to what Chairman Wiesa mentioned, Native Americans face hyper invisibility, and so a lot of decision makers, policy makers, foundation grant makers are not seeing or knowledgeable about the Native American experience. And so one of the efforts that CAIC has done is to educate the philanthropic community on, one, catch them up to speed that Natives are still around, they still exist in today's society, and we have both great need and big dreams for our communities. So helping inform and educate the grant makers and foundations.
Talking about education, you mentioned that most states don't teach their students about Natives post-1900s. What does history show after that time period? What do you want people to know?
One, that Natives still exist and all of our complexities. I think in addition to our racialized experience, we also have a legal and political status within the U.S. And so that's because of our treaties with the U.S. government, our sovereignty. And so I would want folks to understand and learn about that within the U.S. context.
And Matthew, I want to talk about mascots. Can you tell me what efforts are you making towards mascot removal in schools, and what would you say are those impacts, those sociological impacts about having mascots in different communities?
Well, one of the big impacts is you have a number of children who will not self-identify because of the harassment and the discrimination they take for being Native American in a school that has the mascots. And we've had since 2013 a very big push to get rid of the Redskin logo, the Redskin mascot in particular. Native community looks at the Redskin, what we refer to as the R word, the same way the African American community looks at the N word. So there's a very big push. We had 9 schools. I think we had over 9 schools 10 years ago. I think we're down to 1. But if you look at the research, it shows there is a negative impact to having these mascots in the schools. It inhibits our students' learning ability. And when you look at the school board system, their number one priority is to create the most positive learning environment they can for their students. And when you have these types of ceremonial logos and mascots, you're just not providing that environment.
What are your thoughts on the mascots, Jasmine?
I'd say that it's not a matter of opinion on whether it's honoring or representing accurate. Research shows that Native American mascots and representation are harmful for not just Native children, but all children. And yeah, they have no place in our society.
And we know Chicago has a long-standing history of Native American history. You know, I want to ask, the last question here is, when it comes to Thanksgiving, how do you want people to rethink the past of that history?
I think more and more, this younger generation especially, wants to know the real truth of their own country and their history, and so let's not shy away from that.
Would you say it's more of a day of mourning for groups of Native Americans?
I'd say some folks do recognize the day as a day of mourning. It could be a day of giving thanks. It could be a day to honor their ancestors of lives that lost and are enduring resistance.
Well, thank you, Jasmine, and thank you, Matthew, for both joining us. Appreciate it. Up next, a nurse and a factory worker team up to open their very own pizza place. We stopped by for a slice. There's no doubt that food is on many of our minds this week. And if you're venturing out in the cold, there's a new pizzeria in the Pilsen neighborhood that is putting a modern twist on an Italian classic. We recently sat down with the owners of Novel Pizza Cafe to learn about their journey.
You hear that sound? That's the sound of a thin classic style Chicago pizza crust with a twist.
Like, some people might not like it, or they'd be like, oh, what is that? Like, why are you guys putting that on a pizza? And it's just like, why not?
That's Enrique Huizar, one of the owners of Novel Pizza in Pilsen. The Chicago native says he grew up watching his dad making pizzas.
My dad's been making pizzas for like 35 years. Still got a couple more minutes.
Huizar and his 2 friends, Ryan Catolico and Francis Almeida, opened Novel Pizza in June. The spot is decked out with 90s-inspired throwbacks, and the food embraces a fusion of their Mexican and Filipino cultures.
We just want to showcase our heritage.
Our culture,
and,
yeah.
Let people know we could change our pizza. It's not going to be your regular Chicago, like, Italian. We're trying to infuse other things.
Serving tavern-style or pan pizza, topped with unique ingredients.
We do have some takes on our culture, so in the Filipino realm of it, we have a longanisa, which is a Filipino breakfast pork sausage. It's like a sweet, savory, and then we balance that out with the jardinera, so it complements very well.
Before becoming a business owner, Huizar worked at a factory, and Catolico still works as an emergency room nurse for the VA hospital.
When the pandemic hit, obviously I'd be at the hospital and doing that, but then I would just come home and then start messing around making pizza with the ingredients and trying to just work up the recipe.
Eventually, their love for pizza brought them together, leading to a business partnership. The trio began selling pizzas at pop-up events.
I mean, we started mixing stuff with our hand, the dough, and then we finally bought like a little mixer, those at-home ones, and then now we have like these big Hobart.
The pizza spot also runs a cafe, crafting horchata lattes with ube.
I don't know, I just feel like this is my home. Like, I come here and it's just like, all right, it's go time.
The partners recently celebrated their grand opening.
Are you guys like proud of yourselves?
Yeah.
You guys are doing it?
Yeah, it's kind of like people see us like what we're doing and they're like, man, you're doing it. Like, because, I mean, like me, I've said it like one day I want to open a pizza shop, and like I know my friends that like, dang, you finally did it, and it's like, damn, I did do it.
And that's exactly like what we wanted to do, is showcase like
that everybody could do it.
Anybody could do it if you have like the motive and you just put your mind to it.
All right, let's try this. The crispiness.
Who doesn't like pizza? And Novel Pizza Cafe is open Wednesdays through Saturdays. And that's our show for this Wednesday night. We're off tomorrow for Thanksgiving, but join us on Friday for a special edition of the Weekend Review. Now, from the economy and immigration to reproductive care and the environment, we explore the potential impact the second Trump administration could have on Illinois. Now, from all of us here at Chicago Tonight, I'm Joanna Hernandez. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy and safe this holiday. Good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm that is proud to recognize its 20 attorneys recognized in the 2025 edition of the Best Lawyers in America.